Who doesn't love a delicious homemade mac and cheese? Well, I certainly do with cheesy bread, and I'm going to show you how to do it coming up right now on Cooking with Chef Bryan. Welcome to the kitchen, everybody. I want to show you how to put together a delicious mac and cheese, homemade with some delicious cheesy bread. I have to honestly laugh because when I have people that are like, oh, I don't dare invite you over for dinner, I'm like, well, make mac and cheese. I don't care. I love it because honestly, who doesn't love a good mac and cheese? We're going to start off with cheesy bread. Now this dough is the same dough as all of my pizzas. So you can go on the website and get the pizza dough. It's the exact same dough on there. And all I'm going to do is just roll it out thin like you would a pizza crust. So that's fairly easy there. Let's just turn that, and as you rotate it and roll it out, you're going to get all these air bubbles coming out, and it's going to be delicious. And I discovered something when making the pizza crust dough. The dough is always so much better the following day. So if you make the dough, try making it a day ahead and letting it proof. And then once it's doubled in size, punch it down, put it in just a large Ziploc bag that you've sprayed with some vegetable oil, and put it in your refrigerator so that it can just rise very slowly in the refrigerator overnight, and then use it the next day. I find it becomes a lot more crispy, has a lot more flavor to it. So there's just kind of a little tip for you. So what I've done now, as you can see, I've just rolled that out like you would a pizza. I have some really fun little pizza rounds. So those are just kind of like individual little round pizzas that you can make. And I'm going to add that, put that piece right on there, that dough. Now I've gone ahead and shredded up 3 different kinds of cheeses here. I have a cheddar cheese, I have a mozzarella cheese, and then I have some beehive cheese, sea hive cheese. That's the name of the beehive cheese in there. So it's a really good one, and it's going to have a nice flavor. And all I'm going to do is just put some cheese right on top of that. I have preheated my oven so that it is about 450 to 500 degrees. That's important. You want it nice and hot. And I also preheated my pizza stone to that exact same temperature. I've always told people, get you a good pizza stone, a heavy duty one. These light Italian seasonings. So these light ones that you buy, a lot of times they're not very good because they're so thin that they'll crack in the oven there. And so be careful, get a good, nice, thick pizza stone in there. Another thing pizza stones do, if you have problems with your ovens with hot spots or cold spots, pizza stones help to alleviate that because you have that big ceramic brick in there that heats up and then radiates evenly heat, and it takes care of all those problems on there. So that's kind of a fun thing to think about. If you've got those kind of problems in your oven, you can correct that very easily with a pizza stone. So let's roll out the second one here. We're going to get that done, and let's just roll that out there. There we go. I always love to hear the popping of those air bubbles. I know that that's got a nice texture to it, and we're going to get that going here. Because these are going to be the one thing that'll pretty much take the longest thing to cook. So let's just roll that out. A lot of times now, you can also buy pizza doughs already done in the deli sections of your grocery store. So check there. If you don't want to make the dough, just check in the deli section, and a lot of times they're going to have pre-made pizza dough, and that's an easy way to have nice cheesy bread. So here is the cheese going on there again. I'm going to put some Italian herbs on it so that we have a nice little Italian savory flavor on there. I remember when I was going to college, I was up at Utah State University, which is here in Utah. And I would love going to, it was an old Italian place up above the campus. I think it was called Frederico's or something like that. But oh, it was good. And I remember their cheesy bread. They had green salad. They had great pizzas and calzones and everything. And they even had the checkered tablecloths. And so I thought it was kind of fun. As a college student, you know, you always scrounge together a few pennies to go there. But if you ever make it up there and it's still in business, I'd certainly say check it out. Now I want to make the pasta. You can absolutely use a bag of elbow macaroni to do this. But once you've had homemade pasta, let me tell you, it is very difficult to go back to the packaged pastas because fresh pasta is the absolute best. I always get people to ask me, what is the machine? The machine isn't important. This is a Philips. At the time that I bought it, this was the best one that I could find with reviews and everything like that. It has many, many different dies, which are these pieces down here. So I can make a spaghetti, I can make macaroni, I can do lasagna, several other types of pastas. And it's a real simple one because all I've done is added in flour and salt according to the manufacturer. And then what you do is the lid goes onto it, and then I have a measuring cup here that this is going to be an egg noodle. I have eggs and water, and I've just simply followed the manufacturer's directions. So whichever one you get, you can follow the manufacturer's directions on making the pasta. This is going to be poured right into there. What it's going to do is knead that, and then when it's ready, it's going to start coming out the end here, and I'll show you what that does. It's a real easy way to make fresh pasta. So this is going to knead for about 3 minutes in there. You could also add seasonings if you want to. Just kind of scraping down, making sure that egg goes into there. When we come back, we're going to continue on with the pasta. Oh, I can't wait to show you this.
As summer comes into full swing, it's time to fire up the grill and treat your family to a special outdoor meal featuring everyone's favorite Klondike brand potatoes. Enjoy preparing one of our many chef-inspired recipes from the web, or create your own backyard culinary masterpiece using varieties from the full line of Klondike potatoes. Visit KlondikeBrands.com today for hundreds of recipe ideas and make your summers sizzle with Klondike Brands.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cooking with Chef Bryan, and I am showing you how to make some delicious homemade mac and cheese. And this is the pasta maker. I'm just doing this is a large macaroni here, and so I'm just using a little scraper that came with it. I'm just scraping that as it comes out of that, and this is how easy it is. You just add in the ingredients, it needs it. Depending on the dye that you have on there, it just kind of spits it on out. And you, since it's going to be a macaroni, I'm going to just kind of make them a little short like that. So very, very simple. You can get the idea. I've made some already in advance, but I wanted to show you how fun and easy that is. Now what I want to do right now is work on the cheese sauce that's going to go with it. We have our bread in the oven, which I'm keeping an eye on so that it doesn't burn. And then we're just going to create a roux. A roux, remember, is equal parts of fat and flour. And so in this case, I'm using butter. You could use olive oil, whatever kind of fat you want to use in there. So very simple, but it's the flavors in the cheese sauce that are going to be so good on this. And so once the butter and that has melted, we're going to go ahead and add in the equal portion of flour. And so now once you get the flour in there, just kind of stir that around, get that butter absorbed into the flour. And using a whisk, you want to just whisk it around so that you get any potential lumps out of the butter and the roux mixture. All right, so that, ooh, and I love the smell. It just smells really good. It smells so nutty and fragrant. So once you get all of that ready to go, then what I'm going to do is just take some milk, and I'm going to whisk in the milk into the roux. And this is a bechamel sauce now, or a white sauce. If you've ever made white gravy or anything like that, this is it right there. But we're going to take it a step further into a cheese sauce. So cheese sauce is the base of a white sauce, the bechamel. Let's just stir that around, make sure all of the milk and the roux are all mixed together in there. Oh, and that smells so good. You could add garlic, which I'm going to do into this also so that we have a little garlic in there. I think that's enough milk for what we're doing. And let's just add some garlic. You could saute the garlic in there if you wanted to. I didn't saute it in there because I don't want the potential of it going a little too brown. So we're just going to add in some minced garlic into there. To it now I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce and just, a couple of dashes. Just enough to kind of give it a nice flavor. And then I want to add even more of a kick of it. And this is a spicy brown mustard. So we're just going to add some spicy brown mustard, about a tablespoon or so into it. And that's really going to give it a nice bit of flavor into it. Also, we need to add some salt and pepper to taste. And you can certainly do that. And we're going to let this begin to come up to a boil. Now when it boils, what's going to happen is those starches in there, in the flour that we created in the roux, are going to actually bind and with the liquid in there, release out the proteins, and we're going to get a mixture that thickens. And so it's very easy. I love the science of foods. And so let's just mix that all together. And that's coming along nicely. And let me just look, see how the bread's coming. It's coming along nicely. Probably a couple more minutes and we'll have cheesy bread. It's going to be so delicious. And we'll just keep making pasta here, because then I'm going to add the cheese into there. As soon as that comes up to a boil, we'll just turn that up. And then the cheese is going to melt and become all kinds of delicious in there. And you can use any kind of cheese mixture that you want in there. If you want just straight cheddar, you can use just straight cheddar cheese. You can use white cheddar cheese. You can use any kind, mozzarella cheese in there. You can even use that Texas blend cheese I see, or the Mexican blend cheese I see in the grocery store. Add a little kick to it and have some fun. And that's what I love about making things from scratch, because you can absolutely make them however you want them for flavor. And that's looking good here. Let's stir this around a bit. It's looking good. It's beginning to get nice and creamy, thickening up nicely. And when I do cheese sauce like this, I don't worry so much about it being really thick, because the flour and starches from the pasta after it's cooked are going to also help in the process of thickening this. And so it's going to be good. Here I'm going to add in a couple of handfuls of cheese. There we go. Oh, it smells. Oh, everyone at home, I wish I had smell-o-vision so you could smell this. Let's take a look at those cheesy breads. They're looking pretty good back there. Ooh, careful stirring that so you don't slosh it around too much, especially if you're the one that washes, cleans down the kitchen afterwards. So let's just keep that stirring around there. The Worcestershire really adds an intense flavor into there. Now, once the cheese and the sauce comes to a boil, I'm going to add the pasta directly into there. Now, I already have pasta made. It's ready to go into this. And so once this is done with fresh pasta, it only takes a couple of minutes to boil. You're going to add it into some boiling water, and it will be done in just a couple of minutes. So don't go away. When we come back, we'll keep finishing up our mac and cheese.
It's no secret, frozen rolls are fresher than bakery rolls. You see, bakery rolls are made in commercial bakeries. Then they sit all day in stores. Some even contain preservatives, because rolls begin to stale immediately. By the time you eat your roll, it could already be days old. Rhodes Bake and Serve is found in your grocer's freezer. Simply take Rhodes frozen roll dough home and let it thaw and rise in a pan. Bake Rhodes rolls in your own oven. Rhodes Bake and Serve, hot and fresh, right out of your oven.
Welcome back, everybody. We're working on some homemade mac and cheese, the best in the world here. The cheese sauce is ready to go. The cheese that we grated up and added into it has melted very nicely. Now, this is the pasta that I already had made. I drained, and I'm just going to add it directly into the cheese sauce there. So once we get the cheese sauce and the pasta all together, just kind of take a spoon or a spatula and just fold it together so that everything becomes coated with it. Now, the nice thing about this is if you eat it, right after this, then you're going to have this nice runny cheese sauce. A lot of cheese sauce on there. But after a while, that pasta is going to help to thicken that up, and you're going to have a really nice and delicious thick, yummy, cheesy sauce. It just depends on what you like. So this one is all done now. So I'm just going to turn that off. And then our cheese bread is done also. It's come out of the oven there. And let's just add that there. Now I want to show you just a really simple green salad to go with this. I think that is really what makes this too, just a nice green salad to go with it. And I always like iceberg lettuce. And the reason I like an iceberg lettuce, the crunch, the texture of it. So the texture of an iceberg lettuce for me is really good, but you can use any kind of lettuce that you want to in this. And so once you cut that in half, you're just going to cut out the stem of the iceberg lettuce. You don't use that, you just are going to discard it. And then you're just going to slice this into some bite-sized pieces. And the thing about doing a green salad with pasta, I don't want to make it too complicated because I have pasta, I have cheesy bread already, and if you make it too complicated, then it's almost a meal into itself. And so, or unto itself, into itself, onto itself. Oh, you get what I mean. So now let's just kind of chop this up here so that that's ready to go. The important thing about a salad, you never want to dress it until you're just ready to serve, because the acid in the vinegars that are in the salad dressings actually cause the lettuce to begin to wilt. And you don't want the lettuce to wilt. You want it to be nice and crispy and delicious. So I'll just add that into there. This is just so easy to put together. Honestly, this is probably going to be one of the easiest meals you make, at least I think so anyway. And while I was just sitting here, I was thinking, if you don't want to even make the dough, you don't want to buy the dough already done, like I'd said earlier, a lot of times in the deli section at the grocery store, they have pizza doughs already. You could just buy a prepared pizza, like a Woolley or a flatbread, something like that, and put some cheese on top of it and then bake it off in the oven as well. So we're going to get that all together there. And I want to put a little bit of Italian seasoning on there. All I need is the red checkered tablecloth, right? And then this, and some real cheesy Italian music playing in the background. So let's go ahead and put some Italian seasoning on there. You will add salt and pepper to taste. And then just before you're ready to serve it, you're going to give that a nice toss. And so it'll be ready to go. So our salad is ready to go. Use whatever your favorite Italian dressing is with it. If it's a store-bought one, that's great. If it's a homemade one, you can do that with a balsamic vinegar, maybe some olive oil in there, a little bit of seasoning, some salt, some pepper. And whenever I do a homemade vinaigrette, my little secret, I always use a little pinch of sugar in there. So if you put a little pinch of sugar in with your vinaigrettes, then it's not going to be quite so acidic, and it'll have much more of a kind of just a round, nice flavor. So now all we have left to do is to put this all together here. I do want to cut up our cheese bread there so that it's ready to go. Give our pasta one last stir here, and it's beginning to come together into a delicious, I'm going to call it a romantic Italian dinner. How's that? You can impress your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friends, and make this delicious Italian dinner. We'll call it a romantic Italian dinner. How's that? So when we come back here in just a minute, we'll put it all together and finish up this delicious mac and cheese dinner. Are you looking for some delicious side dishes for dinner? Well, why not try Green Giant Fresh Minute Mashes? They're simple, they come in 3 different flavors for your dinner, and all you have to do is put them in the microwave, 7 minutes, pop them out, smash them in the bag, and serve them. It doesn't get any simpler than that. We're finishing up this amazing mac and cheese dinner. These are some Kalamata olives that are pitted already. I'm just going to add them onto the salad. You could do black olives if you wanted to. It's really whatever you want to do on there. That's the fun, like I said, of making things from scratch. I'm going to take a little bit of some Italian seasoning on there, sprinkle that onto there, and it's ready to go. And I just dressed it with one of my favorite Italian vinaigrettes. And now this is the best part. Fresh Parmesan Reggiano cheese is going to go on there. I'm going to finish it off by just using my microplane here, grating a little bit on top of the pasta. Ooh, that smells good. And of course, you got to have some on our green salad. There we go. And I'm going to put onto it our yummy cheese bread. I'll serve that there with the salad so people can have some fun with that. On there, let's put one more piece on there, and voila! We have an amazing homemade mac and cheese, a delicious green salad, some cheesy bread to go with it. It's an amazing meal. Now you can head on over to cookingwithchefbryan.com, grab the recipe as well as hundreds of other recipes, and you can find me mostly on Instagram, Chef Bryan Woolley. You can find me there. Direct message me if you have a question, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. So it's a great way if you need to get in touch with me about that. And as always, thanks so much for joining me and for saying hi when you see me out and about. It's always fun to hear about your food stories. and all of the fun that you have. Enjoy, everybody. I'll see you all next time.
You can find all of these complete recipes on my website, cookingwithchefbryan.com.